slammed bunker buster bombs directly into nuclear sites across Iran. And in a recent post on Fox News, Dave Burke, an F-22 and F-35 pilot from the Marines, comments just a little bit, gives a nice little hint on what that B-2 can carry and that 30,000-pound max ordnance penetrator.
This is a massive weapon designed to penetrate deep underground, hardened targets, well-protected targets like the one you're discussing, and take them out.
So Dave's got a lot of information on that 30,000-pound max ordnance penetrator. Will we see that MOP? Will we see that bomb used here in the near future? We're going to get into all that and more on this video. And be sure to check out Dave's book, The Need to Lead. He's a Top Gun fighter pilot, and that book's incredible. And speaking of naval and marine air power, two massive carrier strike groups are on their way to the Middle East, and that's going to join potentially F-22s, F-35s, THAADs, THAADs, and Patriot systems that are part of a massive Middle East firepower buildup. And Israel's recent strikes on Iran's Natanz and Isfahan nuclear sites are heating things up to a powder keg and proportions that we have not seen before. Is the U.S. going to slam Fordo with that 30,000-pound GBU-57? Is Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, going to back down and step into some negotiations? He's 86 and he's been ruling with an iron fist for over 36 years. So is he going to go down without a fight? Highly unlikely, but we'll go deeper into that throughout this video. And we'll dive into that B-2 and the E-4B's killer tech. The things it brings to the fight is just completely unreal. We'll talk about what those refueling cues directly after takeoff mean for the B-2, and then Guam's strategic edge. Is Guam potentially a more strategic location than Diego Garcia, even though Diego Garcia is closer to Iran? We'll also dive into Iran's hypersonic missile threat and how Iran has been able to pierce through Israel's supreme air defenses. So buckle up. This one's gonna hit hard. So let's first dive into the cockpit of the big dog, the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, and then we'll talk briefly about that E-4B Doomsday plane. These planes are built to slice through Iran's defenses like butter, and they're built to target Fordo's nuclear bunker. That's essentially what the GBU-57 loaded into the B-2 is for, and that's what the pilots flying it have been practicing for over a decade. Fordo's buried under 300 feet of earth, concrete, steel, but this target is likely worth the risk of sending in B-2s, but just for the fact that this facility could be manufacturing weapons-grade uranium. So with Iran's ballistic missiles and nuclear ambitions cranking up the heat, let's unpack the tech that makes these platforms the right platforms for the job. The B-2 Spirit, it's Northrop Grumman's $2.1 billion ghost. That thing is flying in 172 feet across, 69 feet long, 17 feet high, 160,000 pounds empty, but a beefy 336,000 pounds when it's fully loaded down. This thing's essentially made out of carbon fiber and graphite, epoxy, composites. They're extremely light, but they also give it the ability to shrug off radar. And the radar cross-section of this thing is smaller than a sparrow, and that's thanks to radar-absorbent materials that essentially drink up radar waves. It's a seamless design that scatters those waves into the night, and it makes it essentially a phantom on enemy radar scopes. And then the exhaust is essentially one of the coolest parts about this thing. Its exhaust hides above the wings, and it has a chiller for the heat for the exhaust coming out of those engines, and that helps it dodge infrared sensors. So it can slip through radar detectors and infrared sensors like a